All right, so now that we have that underway, all right, sharing the screen, we're going to make sure our audio is on. Sharing the screen, we're going to video chapter 5, handling an exposure incident, a client injury. So let's take a look at that. Hold on one moment.
Infection control, handling an exposure incident, client injury. No matter how careful you are, and believe me, I am very careful, accidents can happen, especially when life's distractions get in the way. Following proper procedures after an exposure incident occurs is the key to keeping everyone safe and healthy. Everything was going fine until a surprise text came in.
Yes! Ouch!
I am so sorry.
No, it was my fault. My sister just sent me a text that she got engaged, and it caught me off guard. I shouldn't have been my hand so fast. No worries, it's just a scratch.
Here, I still need to take care of this though. Here, hold that on there. Even if the client says everything is okay, you still have to stop the service immediately, face them, apologize, and then follow proper procedures.
It's really not a big deal.
You're right, germs are a very small deal. But if they get in your cut, it can cause a big infection, so let's go get you cleaned up. Go ahead and wash and dry your hands in the bathroom sink, and I'll meet you back here in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
Have your client wash their cut, or if they need help, assist them in doing it. Make sure to wash the injured area with soap and rinse under warm running water. Then wash your own hands and gather necessary materials and fresh implements. If you don't have spare tools, you will need to clean and disinfect the contaminated tools while your client waits. Which isn't the end of the world if you do have to. While your client is washing up, go ahead and tackle your workstation. Use your wipes to disinfect and then get yourself reset. Then add one more round of hand washing. Once the injured area is clean, pat it dry with a new paper towel and then offer the client antiseptic and an adhesive bandage. Here is some antiseptic. Would you like a Band-Aid?
Do I really need one? It's just a scratch.
Well, until the skin heals, bandages provide a barrier between your wound and any germs that could cause infection, and that's why I always offer them.
Okay.
All right, we are all set.
You sure are thorough.
Well, we've got to keep our hands healthy, especially since you have a wedding to go to in the near future. Shall we continue with your nails?
Sure, let's do it.
Always recommend that the client see a physician if any signs of infection such as redness, swelling, pain, or irritation develop. If the client is willing to resume the service but did not accept a bandage for their hands, make sure that you put on gloves before finishing the service. Just promise me you'll see a doctor if there's any signs of infection like redness or swelling.
I promise.
Well, there you have it, the basics of handling an exposure incident that results in client injury. You may have a wiggly client or other distractions beyond your control. You may even be guilty of this yourself. Some salons have even implemented a no cell phone policy to avoid mishaps like these. No matter what, now you're ready to deal with any accidents calmly and prevent infection. But if you need any more information, please check out local, state, and federal regulations. All set?
Looks great. Next time I'll be more careful.
Next time we'll schedule this on a day when no one's getting engaged.
All right, just want to take note. Today we'll take a closer look at how our testing and state board references, how it relates to sanitation and infection control overall. The video you just saw was in no matter what the course is, whenever there comes a nick or you come in contact with the client's body fluids, a cut, wound, or anything, we are to stop the service. That's what I really want you to remember. Stop the service and you clean the area, tend to the client. If it's the service is able to be started again, you will start the service and continue on. We were never just disregarded. So we definitely have to make sure we stop the service, okay? Um, and the reason why we do that, there's just particular rules that have been put in place. Normally, years and years and years ago, rules were more lenient that allowed them to, hey, keep going. So you may have been in a nail salon, you nicked or drew blood, and then next thing you know, the blood is coming out, but people were still working. All right. So there's so many things that could be in the blood, not only bacteria, you're talking about HIV transmission, just so many different things that could be going on with the blood. We're not doctors, not nurses, but those were some of the concerns of the board 10, 15 years ago. Just, looking at some of the analytics for disease control and things of that nature. So since COVID, we now have these raised procedures and awareness to sanitation infection control. All right. So at this point, we'll look at the second video, and it's handling an exposure incident. And the reason why I want to show you this one, because if something happens at state board where you're not gonna, number one, you're not gonna test on a real person. So if you happen to draw blood on yourself, you are to stop the procedure, do as the previous video stated, stop the procedure, clean the area, bandage it up, and then if it's able to presume, you would do that. Here is handling an exposure incident. Okay, hold on one moment.
Infection control, handling an exposure incident, employee injury. Accidents are surprising by nature and can threaten to throw us off, no matter how much we prepare for them. After an exposure incident occurs, the important thing is to follow proper procedures to keep everyone safe and healthy. Everything was going fine until he sneezed.
Sorry about that. You okay?
Oh no, my finger! Call 911. Okay, that's definitely what not to do when an injury occurs. Let's try this again, without all the drama. Everything was going fine until he sneezed.
Sorry about that. You okay?
Yeah, it's just a scratch, but I need to stop for just a few minutes. Will you be okay here?
Sure thing.
I'll be back shortly.
Good luck.
Even if it's just a small cut, you still have to stop the service immediately and follow proper procedures. Germs are very small, but if they get in a cut, they can cause a big infection. Wash the injured area with soap and rinse under warm running water. Once the injured area is clean, pat it dry with a new paper towel and then apply antiseptic and an adhesive bandage. After your bandage is applied, put on gloves and then discard all single-use contaminated objects, such as cotton balls, in a trash receptacle.
So we all set?
Yep, thank you for waiting. Fresh pair of shears and some tissues for you.
Wow, sure, thorough.
Thorough is part of my job description. Now, shall we get back to your hair?
Let's do it.
Well, there you have it, the basics of handling an exposure incident that results in employee injury. Now you're ready to deal with any accidents calmly and prevent infection. But if you need any more information, please check out local, state, and federal regulations. Here you go.
Nice.
All right, so that was our handling an exposure incident. One thing we always want to know, If anything happens, we know exactly how to get rid of it, okay? That's going to come in so clutch for you guys because those were the top two videos that we needed to look at in reference, okay? In reference to handling anything that dealt with bacteria, viruses. We had a lot of knowledge from the other day. And so what we're going to do, this last video just gives a cleaning, disinfecting, non-porous, reusable area items. Not sure if we had it or not, but I am going to show it, and then we'll go over to our slide and I introduce you to the PSI bulletin.
Infection control, cleaning and disinfecting non-porous reusable items. Have you ever had a long but productive day? You've seen client after client, been on your feet all day, and now it's finally time to close up shop. Only Maria, our receptionist, and me are left, and we are looking forward to getting some dinner. Okay, now we just need to clean and disinfect everything, and we'll be on our way.
Is this gonna take long?
No, but we need to do it right. It's essential to follow proper health and safety procedures each time, every time. It doesn't matter if it's the first customer of the day or the last. Never rush, always get it right, even when someone is hungry. Now, the first procedure to follow is for cleaning and disinfecting non-porous, reusable items like combs, brushes, nippers, and tweezers.
Seriously? You know the restaurant gets busy.
So we should get started. First, always wear safety gloves and glasses. Second, rinse items with warm running water, then scrub them with soap. After that, rinse off the soap with warm running water and dry items with a clean towel.
You've got to be kidding. It's a comb.
So you don't want me disinfecting something that's been on someone else's scalp? Let me ask you this. Where are we going to dinner tonight?
It's that new Italian place downtown. Very fancy.
And will you be ordering the tinea capitis?
Tina what?
Tinea capitis.
Is that Italian?
It's a fungus, and it could be on this comb. Government agencies require infection control at work. That's because every workplace is alive, even ours. For example, check out this seemingly innocent tool. Did you know that the average comb has almost 3,500 bacterial colonies per square inch, with millions of bacteria per colony? The dirty truth is that all the tools of our trade can be contaminated with infection-causing germs. That's why combs and all other tools we use with clients must be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected.
Gross.
And that's why I'm going to disinfect it. Here's what to do. First, completely immerse cleaned items in a disinfectant container holding an EPA-registered disinfectant. While you're waiting, you might as well change your gloves, as the old ones are now soiled. Then remove items from the disinfectant solution with tongs or gloved hands. Next, rinse items in warm running water, then dry them with a clean towel and store them in a closed container.
I just want to pause for a minute because this is exactly how we will handle our implements after usage, after washing with soap and water, and the same process I discussed, I think, Wednesday.
All right, I can see why you do this.
Keeping my workstation clean isn't just healthy, it's also the law and good business.
So are we all set?
Just a couple more steps.
Wait, didn't you already wipe those surfaces?
That's right. The first wipe cleans and the second wipe disinfects.
Tell me that we're ready.
Go ahead and grab your purse. I just need to wash my hands. Once you're done with disinfecting, remove your gloves and thoroughly wash your hands with warm running water and liquid soap. Then rinse and dry your hands with a clean fabric or disposable towel. Well, there you have it, the basics of cleaning and disinfecting. Now you're ready to make a clean sweep of all your work items and surfaces. But if you need any more information, please check out local, state, and federal regulations. Let's go get some food.
Great. By the way, when we're at the restaurant, I recommend the calamari.
The what?
Squid. So tasty.
Wait, what?
All right. All right, let's do one takeaway from those videos. So let's go to the chat. Give me one takeaway that you learned from watching those videos that you're going to take back with you. One takeaway, and I'm going to pull up what we're working on next. Let's go to the chat, please. All right. Justice says, better safe than sorry, even if it takes some time to do things properly. Correct. Ashley, make sure you're washing after every client. Yes. And Kanisha, when to clean items after using them. Absolutely. Yes, everyone has to be safe. Okay, you and your client. You're absolutely right. Let me prepare the screen. All right, guys. Here is your introduction to our PSI testing. This is called your CIB bulletin, which is just a bulletin. Just gives you all the information about your state board exam. You can find this in the group under files. And then you're going to see us from this point forward always review a little bit out of it, especially when we get to something. I said, oh, I think you need to know this for the test. All right. So this particular booklet is your go-to, your cutter buddy when it's time for state board testing. Okay. So hold on 1 minute and let's get ready to jump right in. Okay. So it'll always say esthetician candidate information bulletin. That's where the CIB comes from. PSI National Barber and Cosmetology Program. This is a third party. This company, this is what the state uses, I should say. The state will use PSI to do their testing. So pretty much I will turn in hours. The state will certify those hours. And when you get ready to go into testing for your exam, all the state says, yeah, she's clear. She's earned every hour. She's taken care of every due. It's time to go ahead and test, and you'll be allowed to test. One thing you need to know is that the test is 2 parts. Okay, 2 parts. Even though it looks extensive here, it's really not, guys. They just redid it to include a lot of details. And before, there wasn't like a lot of details, okay? And so this is appreciated because the questions that used to come up, you simply just got to read through and you'll pretty much find the answers to everything. All right, just your general information. Yes, your exam is two parts, 1 theory, 1 practical. They cannot be done on the same day. There's a fee for each part of the test, and it's $70 paid by students. And once we put you in the system, you would get an email. That email from there allows you to go ahead and register. Once you register, you get to pay your fee and select any of the available dates in any of the cities that is offered in Tennessee. You also can take it from home. All right. And so Tennessee has remote testing. So long as you have a quiet place at home, make sure there's no interruptions and that the camera, the lady on the man on the other side can see you really good, you're good to go. Okay. And so that's simply what this information gave you. And of course, 70/70 and reinstatement is 35. Talks about the online registration. And of course, we'll get down to that. Counseling, the examination review, all the areas in Tennessee where you could take your exam: Cookeville, Chattanooga, Jackson, Johnson City, Knoxville, and Memphis. And Memphis may have a new location as well, like a new address. And it's updated, should be updated on the website. And then Nashville. Okay. And of course, the practical is listed at only Knoxville, Nashville, and Memphis. All right. So theory has more places to be tested, but practical, you only have 3 locations unless you do it virtual. Okay. Like when we're on Zoom now, the proctor will be on the other end, giving you directions and walking you through, and you'll show them that you know how to do certain practices. All right. Of course, these are your rules and procedures, and we're going to come back to that because it's a lot of words, but this is what I wanted to get you to. Your esthetician theory portion. All right. It says the examination content outline is prepared and periodically updated by committees of professionals, which means every couple of years they will update the exam, and they are going to update the exam, I think, next year. 26 or 27 to be exact. You have a new aesthetics book coming out in 2026. So you guys are in the latest Milady Esthetician edition. And a new book that's not set to come out until 26. So between now and 27, you guys are going to be good to take your esthetician exam with the material that you already have. More than likely, a lot of things do not change. They just simply start to add more relevant information. So if there's been studies and new information related to different things in skincare, they will try to push that in. So every couple of years, there's a refreshment of the information with new discoveries. So the esthetician theory content. All right, this is what I wanted to show you. It says the content outline lists topics that are on the examination. That's what we need to understand. On the examination. Okay. So when we start looking at all of these items under esthetician theory content, this is when you say, Ms. Cox, what do I study for the test? This is what you study for the test. Okay. This is what you study, which simply means if they tell you you have questions about OSHA and safety data sheets, you're going to go to the area where we discuss OSHA and you're probably going to highlight it. You're going to study it, okay? You're going to, any questions you have related to OSHA, you're going to highlight them and study, because those could be questions that could be on an exam. So it kind of narrows you down. There are some subjects we're going to go over that are not on your test, okay? You would think you would have a lot of anatomy and physiology. You don't. You would think you have chemistry, electricity. You don't. A lot of time people reference some of the harder chapters as what's on the exam. I don't want you to spend a lot of time. I want you to learn it. I don't want you to spend a lot of time on those areas if it's not in you're not going to be graded for it on the exam. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So it says the content outline lists topics. These are the topics on the examination and the number of questions per topic. All right. So it says we invite candidates to schedule an examination until they are familiar with the topics, not to schedule. So until you are comfortable testing, okay, but I don't want you to go too far. The longer you go, the harder it is for you to take the exam, okay, because you almost lose some confidence, all right? As far as how many questions, I would need to go back. I think I've missed it as far as how many questions are on here. I want to say there's 75 questions, but I could be incorrect. So I just want to make sure. I will look that up in a moment. All right, so our chapter right now is safety and infection control. So that safety and infection control, this chapter we're on now, is 34% of your exam. Let's look at the rest of the exam. Client consultation, 3%. Skin analysis, 13%. Skincare, 27%. Makeup, 4%. Hair removal, waxing, particularly 13%. Advanced treatment, that's 5%. And then licensing, state law, that's 10%. So you may say, Ms. Cox, majority of our test is this chapter. You're absolutely right. Chapter 5. Okay. Chapter 5 is majority of this chapter. Chapter 5. Okay. Safety and infection control. All right. So it's 34%. So it's workstation and environment, chemical labeling. And when I say workstation and environment, you should be able to go to your chapter and see these headlines, okay? See these objectives, workstation and environment. Just like we saw the video, the cleaning of the workstation, chemical labeling, storage, and disposal. So workstation environment is going to include questions from or questions about chemical labeling. Everything must be labeled. Storage and disposal. Okay. Also, you're going to get questions about OSHA and safety data sheets. B, you're going to see an area from safe working practices. You're going to have questions on hand washing, hand hygiene, and client protection. When I look at hand hygiene, that's questions on washing your hands, and client protection, draping the client and putting gloves on. Okay. We just went over to the chat. Some of you guys takeaways for making sure you're protecting you and your client. That will be a state board question reference. C, regulatory agencies. And I'm gonna tell you now, we have discussed 3 of them. 1, OSHA. Okay. Second one was EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. Okay. So we had OSHA, the EPA, and we haven't really referenced the FDA, but we will get on down there with the FDA, okay, Federal Drug Administration. And that's going to be in reference to our ingredients, all right? And so definitely OSHA and the EPA for right now is what you're going to relate to. And then when it comes to regulatory agencies, you have the states. Okay, so every regulatory agency is going to be different. And when it means regulatory agency, it means the state board of each state. Okay, the state board of cosmetology will regulate what hours for each state, what you can do, what you cannot do for that particular state. Okay, and so those are regulatory agencies. And then D will be infection control. Okay. And you'll say, Ms. Cox, what part of infection control will be on the exam? Okay. Number 1, infectious disease, virus, and pathogen procedures. Infectious disease, virus, and pathogen procedures. Number 2, cleaning and disinfection. Okay. So number 1, infectious disease, virus, and pathogen procedures are your cleansing procedures. Okay. And probably have a question, what's the difference? Okay. You may have a question about viruses. When I talk about viruses, I always say, go and let's reference as far as virusitis. So we are talking about the cleaning components. Number 2, cleaning and disinfection. A, the difference between single and multi-use items. Let's talk about it. Single-use items. As an esthetician, I'm going to call you an esthetician. A single-use item that you would use would be something only used one time. So a single-use item would be a Q-tip, a makeup sponge, okay, a wipe. You could not wipe those off and then use them on another client. They are considered single-use, and we call them disposables. Okay, you use them one time and you throw them away. Multi-use, because you're going to see it a lot. Multi-use items, all right? Multi-use items are going to be considered items that you can wash with soap and water, disinfect, and use again, all right? So our extractor tools, our fan brushes that we use for the mask, those are items that can be used again, okay? And so at this moment, you guys just got a reference of single versus multi-use. And when I say you're going to see them often, because now at state board, you got to have 2 bags. And it's not a hard test. Literally, when I show you the next little section, after we go over this, you're going to see majority of your tests, especially the practical component, it's just simply you showing them you know how to clean, you know how to prevent bacteria from spreading to your client. That's your exam. If anybody thought it was going to be really hard and complex, it's not. Okay. This is why when you finish school, go take your test. All right. Go take your test. When you go take your test, I want you to be ready. Go in there with confidence and be ready to roll. Okay. So the next part, so we got the difference between the single and the multi-use items. We got disinfectants. Okay. Disinfectants. They're going to give you questions about disinfectants. All right. So that's one area. I think we reviewed that Wednesday. That's one area you'll study. Next, procedures for cleaning tools, equipment, and video and work surfaces. We just saw the videos on that. Okay. And I discussed the procedure. I'm going to show you within this portal where you can find those in-depth procedures until we are back in where we're supposed to be. And then next, storage of tools and equipment. The storage of tools and equipment. All right. How do we store them? Where do we store them? We also watch a video of that. And then you're going to have E, questions on standard precautions for blood exposure incidents. We just saw a video on that. And there's reading in our ebook. We'll just highlight. Okay. Questions within the study guide. All right. We will highlight those in reference to these items. So what's your number one subject that you're going to study? What's your number one chapter? Somebody can put in the chat that you're going to study in relationship to state board, getting your license. What's the number one chapter you're going to study? There we go. Just want to make sure everybody knows. All right. So once we know to study this, and skincare is going to come in at 27. That's one of my absolute favorites. Okay. Everything else is going to be PG. Okay. We just have fun learning. Okay. So we'll study blood spill, blood exposure incidents, and then effective responses for client injury, which brings us back to stopping the service. Okay. Cleaning the area, making sure our clients are good, bandaging up. If they're good to go, we can restart. Okay. Effective responses for client injury. Those are going to be 34% of your exam. Okay. And really, let's look at, get my calculator out. Because if we are at 100%, hold on one moment. $10 plus 5 plus 13 plus 4 plus 13. Okay. We're going to be good. All right. So the rest of your exam, of course, is going to be client consultation. Your intake form, release form, contraindications to skincare services. This is why I have my students really almost like you have to become the book. Okay. You have to become very inquisitive. When you guys did your consultation, the questions that you ask, that's 3% of your exam. Okay, so I want to start early, getting you comfortable with that. And contraindications is simply what arises that would cause eyebrows to be raised, what arises that would cause doubt that in hand will at this time in hand will cause you not to perform the service. And so we have to be very aware of that. And so we're going to dig deeper on consultation. Analysis is simply us learning about the skin conditions and disorders. And also there's that word again, contraindications. Okay. We have to know more so who cannot get a service versus who can get a service. This particular area is going to have a major focus on your exam. So 34% of your exam is going to be sanitation, infection control. 27% of your exam is going to be skincare knowledge, okay? The how-to. And so if you can pass both of those parts, because you only need a 70, we want you to make an 80, but you only need a 70 to pass. But if you can pass both of those parts, that'll bring you to an 80%. Right at about, and it'll equal up until different percentages based on how many questions they give you. And so you want to make at least a 70%. So skincare, products and product chemistry safety, when to use the products, when not to use the products, and then procedures. You're going to learn in skin analysis. You're going to learn multiple types of facials. You're going to learn facial massaging that will include hand, feet, facial, scalp, and décolleté. You're also going to learn about tools and device safety. So when to use certain tools and certain machines and how to properly use them. All right. So that is skincare. You got 4% on makeup, 4% on waxing. And when you look here, waxing is a popular thing that my students come in loving to do. Safety and infection control precautions, and then temperature precautions. All right. Advanced treatment and safety, that's going to be 5%. It's going to be chemical exfoliation, microdermabrasion, and electrotherapy. All right. And so our night students just finished up a chapter that references all of these. And so a lot of them are getting ready to schedule out. And then, of course, there's licensing. Okay. 10 questions in licensing, A through G. The state laws are listed inside of the group in the files, and you will find it's for sanitation and for licensing. When it comes down to licensing, you have 10 questions, and these are the areas where you can find those questions. You said, Ms. Cox, what do those questions look like? It says meeting licensure requirements and duties. This question is like this: how many hours does it take for an esthetician to get a license? 750. Cosmetologist, 1,500. Natural hair, 300. All right. So that's what that question may be. Renewal. How often does an esthetician need to renew their license? Every other year. Cosmetologist, every other year. So pretty much everybody, every other year. Okay. Board responsibilities and disciplinary actions. They set the rules and they said how much you're going to pay per violation. That's what the board does. They collect the money. Displaying of the license. The license should be displayed, okay, at your workstation, okay? Seen. When clients come in, they're supposed to be able to see that license. I'm going to give you a gem. Do not post your license at your door. Like if you can grab the license off the wall and walk out, don't post your license at the door, okay? Needs to be at the station, or they all need to be together at the receptionist area, behind the counter, but do not post them at the door because, believe it or not, Memphis has this black market of stealing licenses. And I can only tell you from Memphis, all right? Been around a long time. So you'll work hard for your license, pay for your license. Someone comes in, tries to pull one on you, but as they go out, they quickly snatch it off the wall. Okay, and they sell those licenses. If you're gonna go into a salon, a spa, suite, and you go into work and you decide, a lot of people, this happens, decide, I don't want to work there anymore. Life happens. They don't even come back and pick their stuff up and they leave their license. Do not leave your license that you work hard like that for. What has happened in the past, you have had certain salon professionals take that license and use it in their salons and allow people who are unlicensed to come in and work under that license. That even goes so far as getting a name tag with your name on it. So when say board comes in, it looks like it's you. All right. So be very mindful of that. That wherever your license goes, wherever you go, your license goes. And when you leave, you take that joker with you. Okay. Um, salon owner and manager responsibilities. There are new rules related to salon owner and manager responsibilities. Now the owner has the same responsibilities as the manager. So, and the manager has to be on duty at all times. So you're open, your shop is open all the time. You got to have someone listed as the manager at all times. So do you want to have 2 or 3 managers? You can, okay? Somebody just, if state board comes in, somebody has to be there within 30 minutes. You got to be able to be there. If you're not in-house, when state board walks in, somebody has to show up within 30 minutes. And now the managers have stricter rules, just like the owners. And so they're trying to crack down on a lot of people working without licenses and just constantly being fined by the board. Whereas now the managers cannot say, well, the owners knew, now they're saying, oh, you were the manager, you were over this establishment, you knew too. So you get the fine as well, you share the fine. And what I found, and I just do it as a warning, some people will say, some people will say, how should I say this? That they never knew that they didn't have a license. All right. You're still going to be the one responsible for it. All right. So even if that person says they never knew, you're still going to be the one responsible. Also, if someone says, I think you'll be a good salon manager to manage my business, and you're fresh out of school or whatever, just be mindful that you're held a lot of responsibilities. Okay. So just mindful to check that out. Also displaying sign pertaining to clients' rights. You will have to display a sign. Basically, I know you're going into skincare, you're not going into nail care. But it says, number one, the school has to have a sign that said all services are performed by students under instructor supervision. That's what the school is going to say. All right. That's exactly what the school is going. That's what our sign is going to say. What your sign should say when you're in a salon or you're in a spa, okay, that especially full service, has the right to refuse the drill. So if you're in a nail shop or a beauty salon or even a day spa, and they offer some nail services in day spas, you will see the sign. The client has the right to refuse the nail drill. When you go back into your nail salons, look for that sign. Okay? It simply means you don't have to have the nail drill used on you. You have the right to refuse, and they are supposed to listen to your right. Okay? So that's licensing. How does that, one more thing I need to show you as far as how does that look? I'm going to take you to page 11 and 12. All right, so when we talk about practical and how that looks for the sanitation chapter, you're going to go to page 12, okay? Page 12, workplace infection control precautions and workplace safety precautions. Your practical exam is going to be based on this page, okay? How well does your workplace infection control precautions? How aware are you? And what are your workplace safety precautions? Okay. And so here it says candidates need to be familiar and follow our workplace infection control. And we talk about workplace cleaning the hands, that's washing your hands before service, keeping your kit closed. This is considered a violation for Tennessee, is that when you're working and your kit is open, when you're working and your kit is open, that's considered an violation, right? That's considered in violation. So you will lose points if your kit is open. So every time you go on your kit, just make sure it's closed, all right? If the kit is closed, the items in it cannot get dirty, okay? And here, keeping your clients from becoming contaminated. That is, you will always drape your clients, and on top of draping your clients, you will also make sure you're wearing gloves. That's what that means. Okay, making sure your tools are clean and disinfected, and disinfecting workstation, just wiping your station down. So the stuff you normally do at home and at work, that's what you're graded on. Here's the workplace safety precautions, making sure you don't stick your fingers in any jars. You don't stick if we got to get product out, you're going to get you a spatula. That's going to be super big. You're never going to stick your finger in that container, get product out, and use it on the client. That is called cross-contamination, because now, since you stuck your finger in there, only you can use it. No one else can use that product. But if you take a spatula, a wood stick, and get the product out, then put it on your hands, everybody else can use it, because we never cross-contaminated and put our own skin cells in that product. That is going to be a big thing while you're here getting 750 hours. It's going to be a big, big thing. Okay? Making sure your tools and equipment are safe, making certain tools and equipment are in safe working order, keeping the workstation safe from injury, chemical mixing procedures, storage of chemicals in SDS sheets, cross-contamination of chemicals on the workstation, and cosmetologists must know and have a working understanding of workplace safety regulations issued by the federal and state regulatory entities. All right. So just making sure we have a great understanding. Remember, you're going to see workplace infection control and workplace safety precautions. I'm showing you this because you're going to see it every time moving forward. This next section, and then we're going to prepare to close out for today. The next section is the practical components for the esthetician license. All right. You have topic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and final instructions. Okay. This is your practical. This is what I want you to look at. And when I tell you, you're going to see page 12, what do you see here? This is your workplace preparation of the workstation. Do you adhere to page 12, workplace infection control, and then workplace safety? Topic 2, basic facial. Evaluation is what you're graded on. You're going to be graded on 6 things. Preparation of basic facial station, your setup, Then here's page 12 again. Did you wash your hands? Did you drape your clients? That's what that means. Next, preparation of client, or did you drape the client again? Meaning drape the towel on the table, put your gloves on, and there's number 12 again. These little boxes, if you download this and you don't see these boxes and checks, let me know so I can resend it to you. These are supposed to pop up. And these little boxes are like cheat codes. They tell you exactly what you should be doing for this particular area. You're setting up their facial workstation for a basic facial, providing a skin analysis, and preparing their client for a facial service. Okay? So that means you're sanitizing your hand, putting your gloves on, and then wiping down that station. Then you're setting your station up. You're looking at their skin, making sure you can service them, and then you're also preparing them for the facial. All right? It just says prepare. We're not doing anything yet. And look how many points for page 12. 4 points already. And I shouldn't say points. I should say yes. It's going to always be a yes or a no. The proctor is not going to give you points. They're just going to say yes versus no. When you finish the exam, they're going to calculate all the yeses. Okay? If your yeses fall into the 70%, you're going to pass the exam. 70% or more. Go down to evaluation. Now you're going to demonstrate. You got 10 minutes to do a facial. Y'all, a standard facial that I'm going to teach you is 55 minutes to an hour. So at Stay Bored, you got to take all that good stuff and bring it down to 10 minutes. Which means they only want to see that you know how to do it. They're not asking you to do it like you have a regular client. What are you being graded on? Facial using a towel steam, and then check page 12. We look at the checkbox. The cheat code says you must demonstrate an industry standard for using a steam towel. Use your textbook reference for the criteria to use steam towels. All right. I'm going to show you how to take your towel. You're going to wet your towel, squeeze it out, roll it up, and put it in the hot steamer. Once you roll it up and put it in the hot steamer, then at that point, you are going, when we get to the initial points of the facial, we use hot towels to remove products. Okay, once we use the hot towel to remove products, we'll proceed with toner and go into the next step of our facial. So basically, facials are a foreground, a background to skincare. If you ain't gonna learn nothing else, you're gonna learn how to do a facial. And you'll probably say, we get all the way to the end, and the only thing they're gonna check is, do I know how to use a steam towel? Yes, ma'am. You're gonna take that hot towel out the cabinet. You're gonna touch your skin with it, and that is considered you testing it before you put on your client. If it burns you, it's gonna burn the client. Once it's pleasing to you, then we'll drape that hot towel around the client's face, and then we'll proceed with removing the product. Very simple, guys. Very simple. Okay?
We'll get this all hands on.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Because I don't know about no facial, no nothing, miss.
No. I'm just showing you how this chapter is wrapped around your license. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just showing you how this chapter is wrapped around your license. And particularly page 12, you will see this throughout everything you're going to be graded on. So I'm just reiterating how important chapter 5 is, okay? Even though we're going over it here, we're going to continue to see this until the day you graduate, and you're going to see it all while you're in the salon and spa. You see it again in eyebrow waxing and tweezing, more of page 12. More in the procedure of page 12. It's all about sanitation, infection control. You clean your area. More about makeup. You see it so much of it in page 12. 2 evaluations, 1 to set up, 1 to actually do. And then the end of day cleanup is all about sanitation, chapter 5. You have 10 minutes to follow through with page 12. Your final instructions are going to be whatever you came in after you clean up. You sweep the floor, get your mirror done. If you're at home, you're going to sweep the floor, okay? Clean your station. Whatever you walked into the room with, you'll walk out with. That's your final instructions. By the time you put your stuff in the car, you should have your email and your notice that says, congratulations, you passed, right? And so right now, we just needed to be introduced to this bulletin. It's called the CIB Bulletin, okay, for estheticians. There we go. And it couples hand in hand with chapter 5. This is where you start to get introduced and you start to have everything you do from this point on is going to have something related to sanitation, infection control. All right. That's what we're going to do. I emailed this over to everyone. I do want to stop share and I want to go back into the portal and show you an area I want you to check out. So what do you guys think? I should say, did you guys know that sanitation or infection control was engulfed so much into your license? Because in Florida it isn't, but in Tennessee it's tight. Did you guys learn something new today? Let's go to the chat. If you learned something new today, put new, and you can come off mute and tell me what that is.
My test gonna be about sanitation. And I don't see nothing on this test going to talk about the eyelashes.
Right. Okay, so in makeup, you may have one question about eyelashes, okay?
Okay. Because I don't know anything. This is all new to me. I don't know how to do a facial or nothing. So
Yeah, this is just the beginning. You're gonna learn all of this. Let me ask you a question. Do you do more lashes than anything, or you're more
I don't
interested?
do none of it. I have a cosmetic line. So I launched a foundation, concealer, and powder last December. So it's been a year since I have. So I was like, I need to go to esthetician school to learn about the skin because even though I'm matching them with a color, I still need to know something about skin. So I was like, okay, waxing. So I want to get into all of it. So now I'm practicing makeup. So I
That's
have a
good.
mentor that's helping me with the makeup. So I know it's a teaching school not gonna teach us everything, but I did hear you say at the beginning you have like a lash person come in and teach
Uh-huh.
us extra stuff about, how to do the lashes and stuff. So
Yes. And then hold on, I want to show you something, okay?
hmm
In your free time, since you are learning and this is privy to your business, right?
yes, ma'am.
Eyelash, eyelash box.
Yes, ma'am.
Go into have you clicked that box ever?
Because I always stay in where we need to.
Okay, this is you guys get eyelash. I'm gonna give you everything I give the eyelash students. So what's gonna help you in your business? I want you to click that box, okay?
Okay.
Click the box, and because you're probably going to end up working around the eyes a lot, this
Okay.
is an 8-chapter course that's specifically designed for lashes and brows.
Okay.
All right. So you'll be able to go through here and see, um, learn about tools. And this is for anybody. Learn about tools. Eyelash chemical services means brow lamination, brow tint. All right.
Yes.
So you can go in here and watch any of their videos, just like you can watch ours.
Yeah.
If that
I
helps you out, if that helps you out while you're taking your makeup course, and if you're dealing with a client at any time and you see something, you can say, "Hey, I'm gonna go check it out because I know I may have seen it." And this is one of the most important chapters that I teach my lash students is disorders, diseases, and stuff that goes on around the eye. So if you're doing makeup and you see that, I will want you to really go look at chapter 3 just to
okay.
kind of advance you just a little bit. So when you see stuff on people's skin, especially around the eyes and stuff, you know what it is.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. And it's
Co-
just a bonus. And it's a bonus for any of our aesthetic students. You feel free to go through this course here. Okay.
Okay. Cause I'm more hands-on than
Yeah.
virtual. Okay.
Yeah. Virtual's closing out and we're getting ready to putting the calendar together now.
Okay.
And then we'll prepare announcements sometime next week about
Okay.
when we're coming in to incorporate our hands-on.
Okay.
Let's go back here. And so that's for anyone. And then going back here, going into 5 areas I wanted you to look at. Of course, at the end of each chapter, always come down to the end for your slides, your flash cards, your word review. Um, there is, let's see what we got over here. All right. So here, when we have the word review, this is what biggest component I wanted you to also look at, because if you understand your terms, you'll definitely be able to. So it's like a quiz. You understand your terms, you'll be able to really understand the questions on the test. And so right now we're just going to be in study mode. And so I want everybody to just reference between today and maybe Wednesday, just go through and see how many terms you really understand. I'm not asking my students to know everything word for word, but I want you to be able to relate this to something. Okay. That's why we have study guides. That's why I ask you to read your ebooks, because it has to be relatable. If it doesn't make any sense in your brain, it's not going to make any sense on the paper. I'm really concerned with how you learn it, and you cannot learn it like everybody else. So everybody's going to have their own learning style. And based on how you study, how much time you put in, how you learn it, all of this is just in preparation for when you get to the big exam. Okay. So we start now in pretty much developing this nerdish about our terms and things of that nature. All right. That's gonna conclude today. We will finish up the chapter with our state board review, not state board, our study guide review on Monday. And we'll prepare for our mock quiz on Monday, which we'll go through this word review as a quiz, as a class together on Monday. And so I want you guys to just continue reading the chapter, go over, take a look at some of the videos. I don't want the state board component to be overwhelming to you, but I do want to let you know this is the beginning of us always referencing that state board component. This is another reason why we have a high pass rate as well. Okay, that we really get down and dirty in our studies. In your personal time, I have to really admire students that outside of work, outside of family, that just open it up and say, hey, I'm gonna spend a dedicated amount of time on reading my chapter this weekend. And that's literally all I'm requesting, is just you jump back in. Okay, jump in, don't jump out. Continue reading. Even the CIB that I'm going to email to you, just glance over it. Remember page 12 and then 13. 12 and 13 is going to be where we are. Okay. So y'all have a blessed and amazing day. If you need anything, we are getting ready to send hours out. So with Well, Miss Richardson just texted me. She's ready to roll. So you'll start to see hours and things like that in the next hour. Y'all be blessed and have an amazing day.